All right, boys, I had to calm down when watching this one because it's frustrating, especially being at Anfield and not having a win at Anfield in 7 matches since the Madrid game. We're losing games to bottom of the table teams, teams that just got promoted, are drawing and taking points from Anfield when there was a time where we hadn't lost it at Anfield in over a year, right? So times are definitely different and times are definitely changing, and a lot of stuff isn't making sense and isn't lining up that we can take care of a team like Madrid at Anfield, but we're struggling with the Sunderland team. And I was having like a conniption brain aneurysm trying to make it all make sense. In all honesty, this is just a really weird season as a whole for everyone. And I think there's still something in it. We're going to talk about the match, obviously, first. But I'm with maybe Reese. If you guys been in the Discord, I'm with Reese. I'm putting my tinfoil hat on a little bit. And I don't think there's a conspiracy that we're, not playing well intentionally or we're not, putting a ton of effort into some of these matches on purpose. But I do think there is still time. And I do think there is maybe a shift and a turn in momentum in this Liverpool season. We're just getting started, guys. And we are just points off of the top four. If we were able to snatch that win today at Anfield against Sunderland, we're trying to snatch points from a newly promoted team. We would have been top four today. After having one of our worst starts in Premier League history, we would have been top four today. And even now, dropping points in 7 games, we're only 11 points off of the league leaders, Arsenal. It kind of isn't making sense in my brain how we are still kind of within a reasonable distance of potentially retaining our title. Is that possible based off of the form that we are in right now? No. But we're 2 games unbeaten. We're 2 games unbeaten, guys. We got to take what we can get, right? And I think the expectations have to change and shift a little bit in the season as a whole because the entire league itself is very competitive. We just went up against a Sunderland side who's taking points off of billion-dollar teams, right? And I'm going to play a little bit of a devil's advocate on both sides because I know, there's some people who still believe, and I'm a little bit of a mix of both, and some people who are damning the season and saying it's over. But in there's a little bit of hope there where PSG was really poor at this point last season and was at the bottom of the Champions League table, and it looked like I believe it was Lille who was going to run away with the league, and they resurged back, took the league, and won a Champions League. Is that possible for this Liverpool side and the quality that they have? Absolutely. Could we make some additions and some signings in January like they did with Kvaratskhelia last year, who ended up being a game changer for them and making their attack so dynamic? Absolutely, in the form of maybe a center back or a defensive midfielder. Absolutely, could that happen? Could it end up very similar to how Manchester City fell last year? And they never really recovered. Absolutely. It could swing any way, but I do think it is a little bit too early to kind of tell and to judge whether or not this Liverpool team is finished or they're on the path of ascension right now. It's hard to tell in these past 2 games. But I will say Sunderland is probably one of the harder teams to beat in the league right now. Like I mentioned before, I think the main difference between this PSG side and this Liverpool side, how they were able to turn it around in a similar fashion during this similar time of the year where they were struggling in a very similar way, is that PSG played in League On. They don't play in the Premier League where you can afford to have to lose 6 and 7 games in a row and then go on a 20-game winning streak and run away with the league again. You can't do that in the Premier League. And if there's any evidence or proof that that is the case in the Premier League, look at what happened today. We played a newly promoted championship side that was there from the very beginning. They were not afraid of us, and they were very physical, and they were counter pressing demons today. We almost lost that match. Thank you to Federico Chiesa for saving that goal line goal finish, because we don't play in a league that's that easy to bounce back from. These teams will kick you while you're down and continue to kick you and continue to kick you and continue to kick you. And if you don't believe me, look at what happened to Manchester City last year. They were losing to teams they should never be losing, right? And they're still working on trying to recover from that last season. I don't want it to go that direction. I want it to go to the PSG direction if it's possible. But I think it's too early to kind of tell. It's way too early to tell what is going to potentially happen with this Liverpool team. But this result is not necessarily good and it's not necessarily bad. And I think it depends on what lens and outlook you are going to look at this result. Because at first, I was frustrated, very frustrated. And we're going to talk about some of the tactics and some of the things that I saw that weren't working, and then why they started working after the 80th minute. But I want to know what you guys think. Who was your man of the match today? Honestly, Dom Ballard was a beast today. I don't know if you guys watched that kid play. He is a top level center back in this moment right now. He is so good. Granit Xhaka is very, very good. He's showing why he went invincible with this Leverkusen team. They were both very solid in the middle of the pitch and made it really hard for this Liverpool team to really do anything creative through the middle like we were doing with West Ham. But I want to know what you guys think. And while you guys are down there, tell us where you guys are watching from. Love to connect and hear where you guys are watching from. Lace this community all around the world. And if you feel so inclined to, subscribe to the channel. But I will say, Florian Wirtz needs to get into positions like he did. He got into for that goal more often than not. There was too many times where Sunderland were playing very tight and in close and flooding the middle of that midfield to where Liverpool really could only play out to the wing, back to the center back, out to the wing, back to the center back. Like, I absolutely hate that Arne Slot is kind of patented almost as a style this season. And the one moment where Curtis Jones showed some guile and some endeavor and played the ball down the middle, a line breaking pass, we break through and we immediately score. Wirtz is unfortunate not to get a goal because that was beautifully crafted. And honestly, he almost scored another one where he flicked it over the defender. He's coming into his own, and I think he needs to be the focal point of this team. I will say, when Mo Salah first came on, he didn't give us the injection of energy and pace that we needed in this team. And Gakpo just looked off. And some people are saying, no, Gakpo looked normal. He just didn't, scam a goal and assist. So there is some good stuff to take away, and there's some bad stuff to take away. And it depends, like I've said, how you look at it. Because you can say, we just drew and almost lost to a team that just got promoted this year, where one of our players, Alexander Isak, is the price of their entire starting 11. Or you can say, we just got a point from one of the hardest teams to beat in the Premier League this year. Yes, they just got promoted, but they're taking points off of every big team right now, right? So they almost give me the feeling of a Newcastle, right? I know they're just down the road from each other. I know Reese was saying this in the Discord. Shout out to Reese for all the great takes that I just steal from him. But they feel like almost like a cousin of sorts to Newcastle, and how Newcastle has been able to kind of claw their way into a top 5, top 6 type of team. And Sunderland may be following the same blueprint of just being very physical, hard to beat, big midfielders, great on the counter attack, huge center backs that aren't afraid to put a challenge in and win headers, great goalkeeping. They keep it very simple. They get from front to back very quickly, and they make it a nightmare for you to break them down in the middle. There was space there, though, and I talked about this in the last game. We have to be okay with taking a risk and playing the ball in between the lines to potentially lose it and get countered, and just rely on us being great defenders. More times than not, I think we have the quality that we need to play in between the lines and to play passes in between the lines that are dangerous and that'll get us into scoring positions, like similar to how Florian Wirtz did, instead of having to pass it around our back line, one wing to the other wing, to eventually play in a lame cross or hit a long distance shot that we kept trying to go after, right? I think those are the things that kind of need to change if we're really going to make a run towards the title again and towards the Champions League. And I do think we are sort of figuring it out. But if we do not start playing more balls in between the lines, we don't start playing more direct, Isak will be pretty much rendered useless. How the way that Sunderland plays is the best you can get out of Alexander Isak. direct football front to back quickly, physically, second and third chances, like how he was thriving at Newcastle. We have to become a physical team. And that's the and I'll add another comment on here. And just the way the Premier League and as a whole is changing, right? It's changing back to the early 2000 days where teams were big, where teams were physical, where teams were hard to break down. It was deemed the best league in the world because, our mid-table teams would do damage in Europe and stuff like that. I think we're getting back to that era where teams are less about the technical side that Pep kind of ushered in to back to being physical and being hard to break down and being great in set pieces and being big and winning the first ball and winning the second ball. This team, this Liverpool team, is almost designed in the image of a Spanish team or a European team where we're very slow to build up. We take our time getting up the field. We don't play the through ball right away. We look for the exact moment and the exact pass to make it happen. Playing that way in this league against these types of players that our rivals and the other teams are bringing in, I don't know if it's going to be able to work. Arsenal has even adopted this style of play, and they've kind of made it popular a little bit, right? Where you have a bunch of defensive minded players that are willing to put a tackle in, that are willing to work insanely hard and make it difficult for anyone to play against them. That's become the blueprint a little bit for teams that are doing well. You look at Bournemouth, you look at Brentford, you look at this Sunderland side, you look at Newcastle, you look at Arsenal. A lot of the teams that want to play pretty and we want to be technical, like Tottenham, like Brighton, like us, right? They're struggling a little bit in this Premier League. And I do think football, technical football, will prevail eventually. But I think Arne Slot is going to have to be willing to take some risk in the way that this team plays. I think it's starting to be set up correctly. And he's starting to figure out what lineups work and what lineups don't work. And this isn't about Salah being benched and Salah not being benched. This is about a team as a whole. So don't come on here and say, Salah bench, Salah not bench. This is what Salah gets, blah, blah, whatever. He's trying to figure out what works for this team as a whole. And Mo Salah gets that too. He had a great attitude about it today. I know people are going to have the whole, take a bunch of videos and pictures of him with his, with a shiesty on and stuff like that. But he came on and he showed energy and effort. And I think that rose the spirits of everyone. And this is a team that we're working with here, guys. So every player has to do what they can to help this team win and not lose matches. Right now, we've gone 2 games without a loss. Despite me feeling like we should be beating these types of teams, I will take that. I will take 4 points in 2 matches. I will take that. And I know we take on Leeds at the weekend and they just whooped Chelsea. I still think we are able to get some points out of that. I don't think Leeds poses the same threat that Sunderland poses. But anyway, those are just some of my thoughts on this match, the state of Liverpool as a whole, and what I think is kind of happening and going on. There's something that we could be cooking, but there also is something that maybe we could be overcooking. And though that's what's kind of tearing me up a little bit in the middle. I have a little bit of internal turmoil. I don't know what's really going on and what to make of this season because it's such a strange season. And, it's a traffic jam, a log jam at the top. And it's almost like we can afford dropping these many points this season and this season only. And we're kind of getting a little lucky. And I think we need to take our chance while we have it right now to make this close again. There's plenty of season left. We have more than half of the season left to go on a run and push Arsenal all the way to the end, make them nervous, and go on a deep run in the Champions League. Technically, all of the major trophies are still on the table, boys. We're not out of any majors right now. FA Cup, UCL, and the Premier League is technically still on. We're only 11 points off. This isn't a huge gap to make up. And we have plenty of games left, boys. Over half the season left to make this happen. I don't think we write off this Liverpool team just yet, okay? Appreciate all of you guys. Thank you guys for watching the video. Sub to the channel if you feel so inclined. Please do. We're almost at 10,000. We've been like hanging out at like 9,500 for so long. If you can get us to 10,000, that'd be amazing. Whatever if you don't. But I appreciate all of you for subscribing to this channel constantly, leaving comments. I love reading what you guys say and constantly supporting it. So we'll see you guys this weekend. The resurgence continues. I don't know. Peace.